Welcome back, book lovers, to a realm where the lines between black and white blur into shades of morally gray. I'm Bree, joined by my partners in crime, Lauren and Maggie.
Today we are going to be discussing Crescent City, all things Crescent City 1 and 2, gearing up for Crescent City 3. We're also going to be definitely discussing ACOTAR and some Throne of Glass. So spoilers for all things Sarah J. Maas. We're super, super excited for the upcoming book.
So join us for our digital book club and let's get started.
All right. So if you listened to our previous episode, you know that I am extremely late to the Sarah J. Maas universe. Everything about it. I read ACOTAR last year and just was on my ACOTAR high and refused to read anything else because I just refused to believe that they could possibly be as good as that one. So I just read Crescent City. I don't remember all the details because I read it so fast and I've read things since then. But I'm in the middle of Throne of Glass, so I haven't finished the whole series yet, but that's okay because I have spoiled things for myself anyways, so no big deal for me. But I am head over heels in love with Crescent City. I cannot believe I slept on this for so long. I am so upset with myself that I did that. So good.
I finished my Crescent City 1 reread last week. I listened to it for my second go around. And then I'm in the middle of Sky and Breath. I'm still in like the beginning of Sky and Breath right now. So I read it the most recently and like on a reread. So I probably am like the most informed here, I would say, on House of Earth and Blood. Because Maggie you haven't touched it since like
a year.
Like
I think I read it December of last year.
Yeah.
So it's been a full year.
Yeah. So, okay, so let's just kind of recap. We'll recap book 1 and then we can talk about book 2 as well. Just so that we're all like on the same page.
Yeah, and we'll try to make this the briefest recaps.
The briefest recap.
Obviously, we know these books are extremely long and there is so much information. There's so many fine details. So this is not by any means like a full recounting, like in depth. So do not take this.
This is not gonna substitute reading that.
Yeah, definitely not. Like this is not a synopsis. This is like so high level just to like hit all like the major points in these books so that we can gear up for book 3.
And I can also talk a little bit about, I started a reread of Silver Flames, so that might also be important to sort of recap.
So more so for theories, I feel like.
More so for theories too, but I definitely think that Iron Flame should be on everybody's radar for a reread.
Nope. Silver Flames.
Oh.
Not Iron Flame.
So sorry.
Different book.
Oh my god. I think that's
well, this is what happens when they all use the same words for titles.
I know. It's so bad.
The amount of books that are out that say A Court of is insane.
It's a something of something something.
It is, yes.
That's like, my boyfriend always says that. Yes. Silver Flame should probably be on the reread list with the first 2 books of Crescent City. So Crescent City 1, we start off with Bryce and her best friend Danica doing drugs, partying, and then oopsie Danica gets horrifically murdered along with the entire pack of devils. Bryce, then we kind of shoot forward 2 years. Bryce is still sort of struggling, still working for very sketchy witch Jessica Roga. We'll get to her at some point. With sweet baby girlie Lahaba. So Bryce is working at Griffin Antiquities, and Micah, the governor / archangel, comes in with Hunt Athalar, the Umbra Mortis.
Oh my god.
Love him so much.
Daddy.
And Micah says to Bryce, okay, like, you're going to investigate Danica's murder because people are dying again in the same way that Danica and the Pack of Devils died. So then this leads Bryce and Hunt on kind of an investigation on Danica's murder. They uncover a ton of stuff regarding like what Danica knew, the missing Luna's horn. The Autumn King is also looking for the horn and has Bryce's brother Rundan and Crown Prince of the Valvaran Fae.
Lauren has a big man crush on him.
I have a fat crush on Rune Dannon. Rune Dannon is...
With that Skrillex haircut.
Okay, we ignore the Skrillex haircut. I picture him with a man bun.
Oh, fair.
I picture him with a man bun, no Skrillex haircut, because that was a really poor choice on Sarah's part. So Rune's also looking for the horn with some of his friends, leads them on a bunch of crazy adventures, which culminates into the Valbaran Summit, where, so during this summit, Hunt is there. I guess we kind of skipped over the whole drug thing. Hunt betrays Bryce at some point, so they're kind of broken up. Hunt goes to the summit with all of the leaders of Valbara, and while that is going on, Micah visits Bryce in Griffin Antiquities, and Jessica broadcasts it like on the screen at the summit, and Micah basically goes on to tell Bryce, "Oh, I killed Danica." Well,
essentially.
Right. I orchestrated her death.
I orchestrated Danica's death. Danica killed herself and the entire pack of devils because I pumped them full of synth. And they tore themselves apart. So sorry, Bryce. I did so because Danica knew about the horn. Danica had stolen Luna's horn.
Danica was just finding out all kinds of things that nobody wanted her to know. That she was really knee-deep in some shit.
And Micah says, that's why I had you, Bryce, look for the horn. I knew that you had some sort of a connection with the horn. And I wanted you to find it because I, Micah, want to be supreme ruler and I want to go into other worlds and give myself just so much power. It turns out that Danica had Luna's horn ground up into a powder mixed with witch ink tattooed in her back. So Bryce is now the horn. The only way to repair the horn is by using synthetic magic or synth. So Micah pumps Bryce full of synth to repair the horn. She gets charged up with power. Horn is repaired. Bryce can now use the horn. Bryce kills Micah and vacuums him up. Vacuums him up with her little Dyson. Lahaba tragically dies trying to save Bryce. Then I think it's the Asteri order an attack on the city because Bryce unlocking the horn unlocks all the gates. I was like, am I...
No, the Asteri don't order it. It's just when Micah pumps her full of synth, repairs the horn.
Right.
He opens
a portal.
He opens all
and then
the gates.
Everybody
opens all the
gates,
city, and they don't realize it. And then
and
he
it's
opens
the
the
demons
gates
of
to hell. Mm-hmm.
The demons of hell come through.
Like
The
wartime.
demons are attacking. They order the city to be bombed. To clear out all of the demons.
I don't even know. Yeah, it's just that everyone is going. They're running for cover. That I feel like it's like a minimal part. Like I don't even remember necessarily the Asteri like ordering the bombs. It's just like they're kind of taking care of people, but not really.
Mm-hmm.
That it's like that's sort of their way of like combating the demons is to set
like
off
eradicate
bombs.
it.
Yeah. But
right. So then,
and Bryce is just trying to close the gates. Like
Yeah,
I feel like
she's
that's
just
like
trying to
I was like I feel like
gates.
that's like a minor detail.
Yeah.
In the sense of like Bryce is trying to close the
Close
gates.
the
In order
gates.
to close the gates, she does the drop so she can get full power.
when she does the drop, she unlocks all of the bits and pieces of power that have accumulated in the gates over the years. Bryce's power levels, I believe, surpass or come very, very close to the Autumn King. They certainly
do surpass just a little bit.
Yeah, they surpass the Autumn King just a little bit. So then Bryce makes it through the drop. Bryce now has just an ungodly amount of power, I guess.
When she wasn't supposed to have any.
She wasn't supposed to have any.
She's only half Fae.
She's only half Fae. Also, the power levels in Crescent City are just so much lower than what we see in like other Sarah J. Maas books.
Well, I don't feel like we have like a very definitive amount. Like in that, there's like a level.
Yeah.
Whereas like in like ACOTAR, it's like, oh, he's just really powerful. There's not
Yeah.
enough
Even that of
specifics.
like when you're thinking like knowing what we know, especially like if you read ACOTAR, like all of ACOTAR before you read any of Crescent City, Risa's like all powerful is like the most powerful like Fae
Most
High
powerful
Lord
High
like
Lord, yeah.
that's ever existed. There's still so many people have magic, and I feel like in Crescent City it is like very, very sparse. There are few people that even have magic, and so the fact that she has so much is such a big thing. Like that's why it was a big thing for Danica. It was a big thing for her. It's a big deal from the Odd King. Why he's so pissed that she surpasses him is because she's half, which I think is interesting because there has to be several people inside Prithian that were half, and maybe not quite so much at the time we're in, because there's the wall and a lot of like the humans are on the other side of the wall, but they intermingled for a really long time.
I believe Miriam and Draken's people.
They're all
that was 500 years ago. That's what I mean. So like the people that were actively staying in Prithian when Feyre is there, they're like
but those people still exist on that island.
No, I understand.
But like the majority of the population,
they're not part of the story actively. Is what I'm saying. That it's just so interesting that they're looked down on, that it's like it so diminished. It's like diminishing when like in Prithian that's not a thing.
Well, in Prithian we have like the whole lesser fae. You know, like there is a whole like
so I guess that's
section.
True.
It's just a little bit different. Like I feel like in Crescent City there's so much like intermixing of all these different species, and like I mean. Yeah. From like the jump, like we have, you know, Bryce, our main character, is half and half, and then we see like there's relationships between like Rune, and like there's like a whole sex scene between him and like a fawn, you know, like where we see there's not like that weird like divide that we see in Prithian.
Yeah.
And with the fact that there's just fae and humans, I don't think there are fawn, and there are no witches except for like maybe the bone carver and his sister and whatever in Prithian, are, like there is no like Jezebels.
Correct.
Inside. No, none of that.
Yeah. So Bryce closes the gates. Bryce gets a shit ton of power. The Asteri tell Bryce and Hunt like, okay, we're gonna leave you guys alone. Hunt, you don't have to get your tattoo back on.
Oh, and not even that. That Hypaxia, but like Hunt is this whole book. Hunt is a slave. Oh yeah. He has a slave tattoo. He has the crown on his head. That is diminishing his power. That is, he's got like what 10% of like his total power. That like he's like super crazy powerful. That there hasn't been. What is he, an angel?
Yeah, he's well, we can get into that too. But yes,
but he's like an angel that has like there has been an angel like 1,000 years. I think it's something that said that has lightning.
Yeah.
And Hypaxia removes his crown, so he now has access to his full power, and he immediately goes and kills.
Oh, he fucking beheads Sandriel.
Yep,
an archangel,
another archangel. So right off the
sister of his
right at the end, there's 2 that are dead, and so the Asteri say, you know what, you lay low, we're gonna leave you alone.
Yeah, Hunt, you don't have to be a slave again. Bryce, never use that porn ever, ever, ever again. And we will leave you
and leave your starborn power alone.
And leave your starborn power alone. She's now got this big glowing 8-pointed star. That's very important. On her chest. So then book 2 opens up. Bryce and Hunt are in this weird space where they are not together. They kind of got together in the last book, but no real spicy scenes besides some steamy makeouts. Book 2 opens up. Bryce and Hunt are living together, but are not actively a couple and have not done the dirty yet.
Very important.
Yeah, that is very important, actually. Oh, actually, book 2 opens up with Sophie's story. Sophie Renasse.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, which I really love that Sarah did that.
It threw me for a loop because I listened to it, and so I was...
Like, what book is this?
I was like on a high after like book 1 ended, and I like jumped right into book 2, and I was like, what is happening? Who is this person? What is going on? So, not having words in front of me.
Right.
Which I mean I did. I could have grabbed them. I sort of did that halfway through it, that I started listening and reading it at the same time. But it was quite the trip there, having her jump into somebody else's point of view to discuss all of that.
I love that she did that, though.
Oh, definitely.
I cried when Sophie died, and we got like 2 chapters or something with Sophie. So yeah, opens up on Sophie. We thought at the time she has a Firebird. She's a Firebird. Which we learn they can
they gather electricity.
They like gather power or electricity from others and then sort of like shoot it back out. We also get introduced to the Hind, Lydia Servos, and Sophie tragically died. Oh, we also get introduced to...
Well, we're jumping around here.
No, Silver.
I know. So we're jumping. We got to start.
Okay.
We're going through plot points here.
Yeah. Okay. I guess I was just introducing some of the key players.
I know, but if we're gonna keep for consistency's
You're right.
sake.
You're right.
So book 2 opens up with Sophie, and you see that she is trying to accomplish a mission, but we're not quite sure what it is because it is very different from like where we ended up in book 1. That this whole is like it's. What I really like about Crescent City is it's kind of like a mystery series because you as the reader have no idea what is happening.
Yeah.
But so many other characters in the book do.
But Bryce also has no idea what's happening.
You learn it with the
You learn it with
Bryce. So there is the, I don't want to call it like a revolution, but like kind of the revolution that is like the main thing that is happening in book 2. Sophie is a part of that. The humans are tired of being treated like shit. They realize that what Danica knew did not end with the horn, that there is just much to be discovered about who they are, where they are, what they are. They go through so much trying to like figure all that out and still uncover all these secrets. And as these other key players start getting introduced, you realize that it was Danica who was talking with Sophie and that her brother they're trying to find her brother because they have led everyone to believe that Sophie's younger brother, I can't think of his name off the top of my head, that he is a firebird also, and that he has this great power, and that on both sides they can use him. And so I believe is it the Asteria that's trying to find him?
No, it's Peppa Spetsos, who is the leader of like the rebellion. She's trying to find him because like he is a non-Vanir, he is a human who they believe can help take down the Vanir. The Asteria is not involved until later on.
Okay.
Also Rune gets the comm crystal and begins talking with Agent Daybright, who we find out later is actually the Hind. And she has been kind of going undercover, working for the Asteria, working for the governors. But she's really part of the rebellion. So that's a big, I think that's a big
That was a
thing.
huge
I think that's a huge
it's not really discussed very much, obviously, because you find out at the very, very end that Lydia is it Lydia? Is that her name? Okay.
Lydia is
the Hind, but she is also Agent Daybright, and that like Rune and her like really have this really very, very deep rooted connection, and he is just like absolutely gutted
when he finds out
it's Lydia.
So we get to, I don't know, like we can skip over, I feel like a lot of kind of the middle parts of the book. Like I really don't care about all the Ethan. I don't care about the Ethan stuff. I don't really care about the whole, like the dragon girl and the like fire sprites or pixies or whatever they are that get stolen from the Oracle.
Well, I think it's interesting that like Ethan like may be an alpha and that girl, because I don't really care about it, but that the Oracle is a wolf, and not only is she a wolf, but she is an alpha. Not only is she an alpha, but she's from...
Wait, I thought she wasn't the Oracle.
No, the Oracle's a...
Oh, not the Oracle.
She's
I'm
like
sorry.
in the like...
What is it? In the tank. Who's in the tank?
Tubes.
What are they?
They're used to like see.
Yeah, it's
They're
not
like
an Oracle,
the
but it's whatever the walker people, like
where they like go between planes.
Yeah.
But shit, that's crazy. I thought that was nuts. Where
I know, I feel like that's gotta come.
That has to come into play because
even
like
the Lost Fender era,
Ethan will become an alpha, and then not only is that girl a wolf, she's an alpha. Not only is she an alpha, but she's from Danica's pack. So like that was like a big like drop, a big twist that
for sure.
The Prime knew this, and Danica's mom knew this, or maybe figured it out. Maybe she didn't know, but she's like figured it out, and like there's a lot of like other things that are like being threatened on this other side, because I think the werewolves or the shapeshifters, like it's very interesting because and actually I just sort of realized at the same time, I was like, there are no other shapeshifters. Yes, there is. In Threat of Glass, there's shapeshifters.
Oh, there's lots of shifters though in Crescent City.
No, in Crescent City, but I was thinking in the series, because like in Purthian there isn't any. So in my mind, I thought there's going to be like a totally other like world that they came from, but bitch, it's Throne of Glass.
So
they're
when we get to,
oh my god,
I know.
If we want to skip ahead to the end of the big reveals.
Yeah, go ahead.
So Bryce discovers this whole Project Dusk's truth. She discovers that the Asteri are consuming the first light that people are giving off when they make the drop. And then also, I believe, aren't they consuming the second light too, which is the souls and the spirits that are supposed to go on to live forever in the bone quarter. So they're just feeding this entire community a lot. I mean, it's really like Matrixy in the sense of like, it's kind of just a big breeding ground. It's a big farm for the Asteri to get their nutrients, which is like the magic that these people are giving off. That's like one of the huge reveals.
And this isn't the only place that there are several Asteri that have been doing this for like thousands and thousands of years, and she finds their whole
plan. They've been going across the universe
that they have, which is the same map that exists in a couple other places in the universe, which is just wild, like how deep rooted all this stuff is, and that she's really finding out again that Danica knew all this. Danica figured it all out, and that she knew what this all was.
And the Asteri tell Bryce, oh yeah, we've been doing this to we've drained lots of other places.
Lots of worlds.
Except there was this one world that was so rich in magic, and we loved it there, and they kicked us out. And guess what, Bryce? Your people came from that world. Specifically, a small island that's permanently shrouded in twilight. And that's where your people came from. They were led here. And then the portals, they
like through the rift, I think is what it's called, right?
But they may have come through the Northern Rift. But then they also say, oh yes, also the Shifter Fae. The Shifters are Fae, and they come from a separate world. There's two worlds: the world where Bryce's type of Fae come from, and where the Shifter Fae come from. And so, if you've read all of Sarah's books, then we're now talking about the Asteri having been in and brought people over from Prithian and from Aurelia. That's how you say it, right?
Sure.
So that's really interesting. But the Asteri are trying to get back.
They want to get back to Prithian, right?
Prithian. To this high area
to Prithian,
magic,
because Prithian has so much magic. And
I was just flabbergasted.
Oh yeah, it's insane. And then you have Bryce and Hunt and Rune trying to now battle this one Asteri. Shit goes wrong.
Goes sideways, hardcore.
Bryce with the horn gets powers up like a gate, right? Isn't that what it is? Bryce has her star sword with her. She goes through the gate to escape and just thinks to herself, I need to find help.
Well, she wants to go to hell. She's trying to go to hell. She specifically
wants
to go to hell.
But she's just saying, please find help. I need help. And Bryce gets dropped on the front lawn of the river house of our favorite High Lord and High Lady, Rhys and Farah. And who finds her but my sweet baby boy, Asriel, with Truth Teller.
The matching.
And which is the matching dagger to Bryce's star sword.
And I knew it. As soon as they said that, I immediately texted our group chat and I said, I'm sorry, but is Truth Teller this magical dagger that they are speaking of?
And the star sword is Gwydion.
Sarah, I need you to tell me how many hours, how much planning, how much sleep have you lost over the deep-rooted connections that you have over all of these books, because it's fucking insane.
And you haven't even seen one of them yet.
What do you mean? Oh, like, because I haven't finished Kingdom of Ash? I know. And, like, I was just... And I think that's why I also really liked Crescent City so much, because I had ACOTAR and I had all these connections, and as they're talking about it, I was just like, oh my god. Like, I literally died when they said that, and in my brain, I was like, wait a minute. Oh.
And if we all remember from Silver Flames tells a very interesting story about High King Theon and how he, using Gwydion, banished the Daglin from Prithian. The Daglin were these evil creatures who drank the magic of the land like wine. Did you just realize this?
Yes, no, I don't remember that.
Oh my goodness. Yes,
no.
Silver Flames.
See, listen, and like the thing that I think is, again, so interesting with Sarah is that In all three of these series, she's talking about the exact same thing, but every single place has different names for all these things. So just off the bat, you're not drawing the connection because they're not all named the same thing.
You're gonna be in for a treat when it's theory time, girl, because I got more shit about High King Theon.
I am so excited.
Yeah.
Please continue.
Okay.
But also, again, like you find out at the very end of book 2 that when Bryce sees Reese, who she doesn't know who he is, that he looks exactly like her brother, and she is like thrown for a loop because she thinks she's literally looking at Rune, and same hair color, same build, same eyes, like everything, that they are like identical, that it is very clear that they are from the same bloodline. How? Yet to be determined.
We'll talk about it. I got two. There's two main theories on it, honestly.
But there are just so many things that are a lot of seeds that are planted at the very, very end of book 2, which makes for a very highly anticipated book 3 and book 6, because we do know that she is working on book number 6 for ACOTAR.
More theories abound on what book 6 is going to be concerning and how Sarah is going to... Because she's kind of said she's going to keep the series separate. And so there's some good theories on how she's going to manage that. I think the good thing about Crescent City 3, in terms of people who want to read Crescent City and don't want to read ACOTAR for whatever reason...
you could read it separate.
You could read it separate because we are learning... You're going to get more Easter eggs and more fun content if you read both, but... Bryce is going to be learning about Prithian. They're going to have to tell her, like, hey, this is our world and this is what's going on here. So the reader is going to learn along with Bryce. And so I think that there's a way that she'll be able to also do that for ACOTAR 6. Book 3 of Crescent City. Obviously, we're going to open up with Bryce and Prithian. Sarah has said that time in the books is going to be split in the ACOTAR world. So we're going to get POVs from Bryce in the ACOTAR world. And then also POVs of probably like Rune, Lydia,
probably
Hunt, Ethan, Therian, because Therian at the end of the book made a deal with the Viper Queen to escape the River Queen, because the River Queen was going to kill him. So now he is addicted to the Viper Queen's venom, and he's in the Viper Queen's court. So that's its own
whole other thing.
I forgot about that too.
I know.
And also, sweet baby Hunt has a crown again.
Yeah, Hunt got his slave tattoo put back on. That was like one of the most gut-wrenching things.
Yeah.
There's actually some interesting theories. So what's your take on this, Bree? So when it says they put Hunt's crown back on and then he knew nothing, what does that mean to you?
If I'm going to be honest.
Yeah.
I don't remember that.
Okay.
So it means nothing to me.
Okay. Some people think Hunt loses all of his memories. That putting the crown back on, they've erased Hunt's memories, and now Hunt has no idea who the fuck Bryce is, and he's just like, slave is his identity.
But see, I'm so interesting. The crown is not a slave mark. The crown is not a slave mark.
Right. It's his SPQM on his wrist. That's the slave mark.
So he's not a slave. He just has his power diminished again.
Yeah, but,
that's what I took that as.
But he's in the dungeon.
Oh, well, for surezies. But I mean, like...
Yeah, sure. Okay. Like, they put the crown back on. Did they turn him into just, like, a henchman, basically? And erase his memory? Or did he just pass out?
Well, it's so weird, though, because when Hunt talks about his time before the first time he was enslaved, he has memories. So, like, what is different about this time for him to lose
his memory? Does the Asteri put it on? I don't know.
Who put it on the time before?
Witches, like old witches, is what he tells Hypaxia.
I don't know.
I don't either.
I
don't have theories.
Selfishly, I want it to be he passed out.
Yeah, no.
Because I think I will cry big crocodile tears.
If he
loses his
wiped.
Yeah, I'll be really sad.
Yeah, but I feel like we could get
But I feel like we wouldn't put it past Sarah. Especially because she also did say that book 3 you're going to learn a lot about Hunt. And so I wouldn't be surprised if it is like him coming back to his memories if he did lose them.
We'll figure out who Hunt's daddy is because there's some interesting stuff there. His lineage, where he comes from, the Asteri claim that Hunt... I mean, they bred the angels anyway, but they claim that Hunt was like specifically bred.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a lot of interesting theories on what that could mean and why, and what is he? Is he truly an angel? Because he's the only one without lightning power. So is Hunt really an angel? Is he something else?
He doesn't have pointed ears, right? He has like round ears, right?
Yes, but the Asteri tell Bryce that the reason the
They bred
shifter
it out of
fae,
them.
they bred it
Yeah.
out of them.
Mhm.
So
I just can't remember if Hunt had
no, I
pointy ears
believe
or not.
Hunt has rounded ears, but the Asteri bred it out of like the shifter fae from the Throne of Glass world. So totally could have done that.
But it's so, and see what I think is interesting, because if the shifters are coming from Throne of Glass, which they have to be, because it's the only other world that is in this little
That we know
threesome
about.
here. Yeah. The shifters in Throne of Glass are not just wolves. And
Right.
but they are in this one. Like, the way that I feel it as like described when you get Ethan's point of view is that like he does not have a choice of switching to a different animal. He is a wolf. That like it is a traditional like werewolf shifter.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, but Rowan only goes. All of his whole family is predatory birds.
Yeah, and like
Oh.
Gavriel is only a lion.
Like they all have one thing they shift to. It's
They all
like a
have one
familial
thing they
genealogy.
shift to.
Oh, see, I'm thinking then of Lysandra, because Lysandra.
Right.
Oh, so
Lysandra's
she's a different thing.
See, okay,
I
I
think
was
Lysandra's
forgetting,
different.
to be honest, that like some of the Fae had a different form. Thank you for correcting
Clarifying
me.
that?
Yeah, because
well, Lysandra's
when
human.
I was thinking of
Lysandra's
that,
not fae.
oh, you're right.
Lysandra's
She's
human.
a human with shifting.
She's a human with a shifter gift. She's a human with
Magic.
magic. Like how Irene has
Healing.
like healing magic.
God. There's literally so much. How does any one person? How
Dorian
does one
is a
person keep this
human.
straight,
I know.
bro?
I know. No, I think what they're referring to is how the Fae in the Throne of Glass world
Okay.
shift into another form. So,
Okay, that makes
Like they all
sense.
have their beast form. Like
yeah,
which
yeah.
like
oh my god, well, that
Aylin's
just
a
gives
little bit
us even
different.
more. Yeah, Aylin's is different, but
But
because she's
still-
demi-fae.
yes.
Yes, but her shifting was to her human form.
Yeah, because she's demi-fae, because
Yeah.
that's what someone said. Lorcan has the same thing, that when he's a demi-fae and he doesn't shift into an animal because he can shift into a human form.
I forgot that Lorcan's demi-fae.
Me too. Love him.
I love Lorcan so much.
I think we should really just jump into the theories,
I think
because
so too, because this recap is making me a little bit more lost in the sauce, and
yeah. Okay, so we're just going to dive in to theories for Crescent City 3. Lauren has done a lot of research. She's done a lot of preparation. She has 20 pages of notes. We're not going to read everything verbatim, but we are going to dive into this. So big spoilers.
Big
Lots
spoilers.
of stuff.
Big spoilers, lots of stuff. Big spoilers for all three Sarah J. Maas series.
Please comment and let us know what your theories are, if you have things to add, if we miss things, because there is...
Because obviously we
There's
haven't
so
read
much.
them.
And also, like,
So
these
much.
theories, some of them conflict. Some of them don't connect. Some of them are off the walls crazy. And, like, just because I'm reading these theories and, like, talking about them doesn't mean that this is what I think is going to happen.
Yeah, and these are not all our theories. These are theories
I will
that
give
are just
credit where
like...
credit is
Yeah,
due. I
these
got
are
most of
theories
these
that
off
exist.
of my favorite place for theories, which is Reddit.
Okay.
I think that Reddit has some really great... There's, like, a few creators on there that I think have these, like, incredibly well thought out, well researched theories. And I'll try to, like, shout them out. I have links in here so I can shout them out.
All right, take it away.
So I guess we're just going to start with what we think is going to happen with Crescent City 3 and what Sarah has said. So Sarah has said that Crescent City 3 is the end of Bryce and Hunt's story. So some people think that means a breakup. I don't think so. Some people think that that means Hunt dies. There's a ton of really good evidence for that, unfortunately.
Oh my god.
But I found this one theory that you're gonna go absolutely fucking apeshit for. I hope.
I'm so excited.
There's this theory that it's the end of Bryce and Hunt's story because they learn their true identities and they assume those identities. Their true identities are the reincarnations of Thea
Okay,
and
yes.
Thur.
Okay.
Right, which makes a lot of sense. We see a ton of similarities drawn between Thea and Thur. Bryce has Thea's light so much so that Adis looks like he's seen a ghost. Hunt is often compared to Thur. And one of the main sort of bases for this theory is Sarah J. Maas's love of Sailor Moon.
Oh my god, I love
She's
that so
obsessed with Sailor
much.
Moon. Sarah has a Pinterest board, or had a Pinterest board, for a new series, Twilight of the Gods, which is what a lot of people think is going to be a full multiverse crossover series. So Crescent City we're going to have Flame and Shadow, and that's going to be the end of Bryson Hunt's story, because some really bad shit's going to go down. Midgard's going to be destroyed, and we're going to have to morph into this big overarching thing. We also have the House of Many Waters, which is a novella. So again, like, Crescent City is going to end, essentially. We're going to get House of Many Waters, and, we can get into, like, what we think that could be about. But there's going to be Twilight of the Gods. On Sarah J. Maas's Pinterest board for Twilight of the Gods, it's got lots of Sailor Moon in there. Lots of Sailor Moon. And so, Brie, if you remember, Usagi and Mamoru discover that they are the reincarnations of Serenity and Endymion.
Stop it right now.
I knew you would love this. So, let's see. So this is going to, if Bryce is Thea and Hunt is Thur, this is going to set up Bryce and Hunt as High Queen and High King of Prythian. And I know, everybody's looking at me like I'm fucking nuts. But there's just such good evidence of this.
Hold on. We need to backtrack that a little bit into ACOTAR then for that.
So, like, this creator.
So, for that, in any, like, Prythian history...
This is by my favorite Reddit creator, Amiego.
Amiego?
Amiego has the best theories. She also does TikTok. So.
I think I just, like, for that, like, need some, like, background information. Is there any, like, historical, like, discussion,
like High King,
of an overarching, like, High King and High Queen in Prythian?
Yes.
Like, was there a point when there were not the 7 courts? Was that before?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, so also, I just Cassian say something to Reese, like, maybe you should be High King,
and Reese doesn't want to.
Right.
Reese adamantly says, because we have the story that we get told in Silver Flames of High King Theon, who battled back the Daglan with Gwydion, which was forged and then dipped in the cauldron by High Priestess Oleana. He battled back the Daglan and became High King of Prythian before the 7 courts existed. Theon was eventually betrayed by his queen and their general.
Okay.
And the Star Sword was lost. The queen is Thea. The general, Pelias. They took the Star Sword and they went to Lunatheon through the portal. So that's who we're all dealing with here. So yes, there was Theon and Thea.
This is literally so much.
Okay,
so we think in book 3 that Hunt and Bryce are going to assume their true identities. That's, like, that whole, like, main thing, is that they're going to remember who they are.
Yeah, or assume the identities. Yeah, because, like, I'm trying to remember how it happens in Sailor Moon.
In Sailor Moon, it's kind of like...
They are the reincarnations, but they eventually get the memories back.
Yeah, that it's, like, they are and they are, because I'm also trying to think of, like... Because you have the future, because then you have Minnie Moon, who... She's from the future, where they still exist in Crystal Tokyo. So, it's like... I'm trying to... piece this together in the sense of, like, they exist but they don't exist, because Sailor Moon is Sailor Moon. Like, Usagi's Usagi. She's not, what's her face?
Queen Serenity.
Thank you. I could not, the name, like, flew out of my head, because I also just, like, listen to the English versions, so I don't always know their Japanese original names.
No,
because
I know.
to me she's
Serena.
Yes.
Yeah.
She's Serena. That's how I always think of her. So I'm like, what? It's Damien. What are you talking about?
Yeah, it's Serena and Damien. But I understand that, like,
yeah.
You can't even hardly find those versions anymore. You can only find the Usagi Mamoru versions.
For sure. But, like, they are those people, but they're also not. Especially because, like, the Moon Palace, the Moon Kingdom, was so long ago, and Queen Serenity put them, like, I don't know if it was, like, took their soul, took their essence, and, like, sent them to Earth. And, like, did she have all those different reincarnations? Like, what did she was she born and died and born and died and born and died until they had this version of her? You know what I mean?
I don't remember.
Like, that's what I'm trying to think. Like, that's the only thing that I'm, like, lost on, if that would be it or not. Because did they just float around until they got there?
Well, I think that there could just be, like, magic right until the timing was right, until there was such a time that all these things could converge to destroy the mystery once and for all.
For sure. Okay, that makes more
sense. So then the question is, where does Thur come in? Right? If Hunt is the reincarnation of Thur, as has been alluded to, then where the fuck is Fionn? Or, like, who is Fionn then? Theory, Thur is Fionn. So when Bryce is in the Crescent City Ballet, there is this frieze that she sees of Thur forging a sword with a fucking hammer and some lightning and whatever. And she's like, oh my god, that looks just like Hunt. What was he making? What sword is that? Anybody think that it could possibly be Gwydion the Star Sword that he was making? Maybe Fionn is Thur. And has been this whole time. Everybody just knows these people by different names. So that's kind of... And so then that brings in, okay, but didn't Thea betray Fionn? So then, like, Bryce and Hunt, was she going to betray him? I don't think so. I think that we just don't know a lot about the whole story between Fionn and Thea and Pelias. I think that it could we know that Pelias is a really fucking shitty dude. I think it's totally possible that Thea was blamed for Fionn's murder. There's too many names. For Fionn's murder. And that she really didn't do it. And maybe Pelias forced her to, or maybe Pelias had already kidnapped Helena. And, you know, somehow Fionn got killed during that. And so Thea had to go to Lunathion with Pelias to get Helena back.
I'm going to be honest. I always thought it was that the novella was going to be a different, like, character. I didn't even remotely think about, like, Bryce and Hunt going anywhere. I thought it was going to be, like, Silver Flames, how we have, it's the end
I think the House of Many Waters is, you thought it was going to be.
I thought it was going to be just like that, like, where they're still, like, around. They're so just, it's, like, going to be, like, I don't even know whose story it would be, like the River Queen's daughter maybe or something. Like, I never really even put much thought to where Bryce and Hunt were. I just figured they would get their happy ending and go live their lives. Kind of like Bryce and Farah. Like, they're still involved, still around. They're just not their story anymore.
But think about how much is going on in the Crescent City world. Do you really think that can be wrapped up in one 800-page book? Do you think that they can kill all 7 Asteri, establish?
I don't know, especially because half the book is going to take place in a whole other world.
That's what I'm saying. Like,
no,
I don't think... Because think about Throne of Glass, right? It takes 8 books to reach the ultimate conclusion.
No, I think it's totally, like, a logical theory. I just... Truly, my brain had never even considered it. Like,
it took Bryce and Hunt 2 books to get close to 1 Asteri. And even then, Bryce had to yeet herself through a portal to get away because she couldn't do it. So I don't think that I don't see how Sarah can wrap up the entirety of Crescent City and Bryce and Hunt's story. I mean, this all converges around Bryce and Hunt, right? And their powers. Like, Bryce is, I get that, like, she's the main character in the sense that Farah was too. But all this stuff is happening because of Bryce and her powers. So I just don't think that there's any logical way to wrap
to tie up nicely.
Yeah, to tie up into a neat little bow. Bryce and Hunt's story and the Asteri. And we're only getting House of Many Waters, which is a novella. There's a lot of weird shit going on with Therian and the Viper Queen. I think that House of Many Waters could certainly be about that. But the bigger theories are that we are setting up for Ragnarok, which is going to be the catalyst for Twilight of the Gods. That's the overarching theory of how Twilight of the Gods is going to come in. Ragnarok, famously, the precursor is a huge flood. House of Many Waters, maybe. House of Many Waters is sort of them dealing with that, and House of Many Waters then is the transition, like how Frost and Starlight was the transition between Rhys and Farah's story and Silver Flames. House of Many Waters would then be the transition between Crescent City and Twilight of the Gods. So I think that that's a pretty good theory. And of course, Ragnarok brings in a lot of extra stuff. We've got gods. Thur, who has been kind of set up also to be kind of a god type of a dude. Lydia's also compared to Luna, which I didn't really realize. But people are saying that Lydia looks exactly like Luna. Like that's said in the book, and I could probably find the parts for that too eventually. So I think that we're kind of setting up for this like God's book. House of Many Waters is going to be our transition novel in between. This is a Kingdom of Ash spoiler.
Oh, it's okay.
That
It's okay.
Do you know what happens in the end of Kingdom of Ash?
I don't know. I don't know how much I've spoiled for myself, so I'm not sure.
How much is this going to upset her?
I don't know. It's like a big part.
Just do it. The bandage. It's okay.
So at one point during Kingdom of Ash, Aelin unlocks a word gate and falls through worlds.
Oh, I knew that.
Okay.
That there's like fan art and all kinds of stuff. So I knew,
so you know that she
and like she sees Reese and Farah. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. That's
So
if
she sees Crescent City.
if I knew anything, it was that.
Okay.
I just didn't know where or how it happened,
So
but I did know that.
She falls through worlds. She sees 3 worlds.
Mm-hmm.
She sees Prythian, she sees Lunathion, and she sees a planet completely covered in water.
Oh.
Is she falling through time as well as space? And she's seeing the future of what's going to happen to Crescent City. Ragnarok, the flooding of the entire world. Again, like, I don't know how the flooding is going to happen. But I don't know if that's just going to, like, be how they can, like, eventually destroy the Asteria. I don't really know.
Right. I guess I just, like, it, and maybe I was too simple in my, like, theories of what was going on. But, I mean, from Aelin's fall, because she sees Farah very pregnant, we can assume that these are all happening at relatively similar timelines. Like, you know, give or take a few months or whatever.
Correct. But then we also can go back to in Silver Flames when Gwen is telling Nesta about Meryl, the High Priestess's work. She talks about Meryl's theory that all of these worlds are existing on top of each other and only separated by time. And I totally get that, like, we've kind of decided that Crescent City and Kingdom of Ash and Silver Flames are all kind of happening on the same timeline. But, I mean, there's the whole thing about string theory and the theory of relativity, and that's kind of how Sarah is setting it up, because 26 strings on the harp. Then the theory of relativity, or string theory, has the 26 strings. So I think that there's totally a chance that, yes, Aelin was falling through time and space at the same time. And so that's how she's kind of seeing Crescent City as exist at the time, Prythian as exist at the time, and then also the future.
Of something, you just don't know what.
Yeah.
It's just assumed potentially that it is Lunathian.
Yeah.
Okay.
Could be something else, I guess, that's like gets flooded and covered in water. This would also explain why the royal bloodline dies with Rune. As we all remember, that's what the Oracle said to Rune, the royal bloodline shall die with you, Prince. That's why the royal bloodline dies. There's no royal house left because the world is destroyed. And I think with that, that it would be Thea and Thur, Bryce and Hunt, leading everybody into Prythian. Whether or not that's a good idea, I don't know. But they have to go somewhere. So, I mean, they could also possibly go to Aurelia. They could go, some people get shuffled.
Could they go to a new place? Like, is there any potential like it's a brand new place?
I think that they could maybe go to a new place, but I think that there's just so much that has to do with Bryce and the Dusk Court.
Oh, yes.
And
I forgot about the Dusk.
Even if you don't agree with, like, Bryce being Thea, I totally get it. Bryce obviously is related to Thea, has a huge connection to Thea. She's set up as the Starborn heir. I think the heir of the Dusk Court. I think that a lot of people can kind of agree with that one, at least. The Dusk Court is her home. She glows for people who are from Prythian, glows for the Avalon Fae, who are kind of more closely tied with Prythian. So I think that that's probably where Bryce would go, is to Prythian and to the Dusk Court. I think it would certainly be a little bit weird to have these outsiders come in and now they're High King and Queen. But if they truly are the reincarnations and they get some of those memories back, then it makes a little bit more sense, I think. I think that's pretty good. And then you could still have ACOTAR be somewhat standalone, at least for ACOTAR Book 6. So I saw this really great theory, and I don't remember exactly where I saw this one, that the next book obviously is going to be Elaine's book. And it's going to kind of it's all in Elaine's POV, and it takes place a little bit before Bryce gets there, and then it's while Bryce is there, right? So the ACOTAR readers have some context of like, who the fuck is Bryce?
Mm-hmm.
So I think that that's like a pretty good way for Sarah to kind of keep the series separate and then explain stuff as Elaine is learning. And then Elaine will probably have her own like storyline as well. Oh, I saw this one that Elaine basically pulls an Avengers Endgame. So there was this theory that everybody, Reese, Farah, everybody dies in the end of Crescent City 3. Okay, hear me out. It's not terrible. Then we get to Elaine's book. Elaine sees all of this happen. Elaine sees all of this happen, and Elaine is the one to use the harp or go back in time, whatever.
Bro, I forgot that she was a fucking seer.
And saves everybody.
Oh my God.
And that's what Elaine's book is about. She goes back in time. Again, because then we're still getting the whole everybody dies at the end of Crescent City. Elaine goes back in time in her book and saves everybody. Now we've got Twilight of the Gods. ACOTAR still continues. If Sarah's truly trying to pull an Avengers Endgame, that would be a great way to do it, I think. Yeah.
Maggie is speechless.
So she saves him on the ACOTAR side, leaving remaining Bryson Hunt. So then that leads Bryson Hunt's story into Twilight of the Gods. Oh, this was just like a silly thing I threw out. I was like, I don't know. Elaine saves the day and the magic of Prithian gives her the spring court as a thank you. I don't fucking know. That's a separate ACOTAR theory of mine that Elaine is going to rule the spring court, but that's like a separate thing. Oh, the book also mentioned that this ties in really well with some of the themes in ACOTAR. The three sisters have to conquer their three mountains, right? So we learned about the three sister peaks. We've got Remiel, we've got under the mountain. Mm-hmm. And then we've got the prison island is the third sister peak. Elaine's got to conquer that third sister peak somehow. What better way than saving fucking everybody and bringing back the Dust Court? Yeah.
That one's got some merit.
Yeah, it does.
Mm-hmm.
Very interesting.
I know. I feel like everybody's like speechless because I'm like, am I just being totally unhinged and crazy? Or are these like good?
You are being unhinged and crazy, but in the best way, because there are people, like as we sort of, discussed previously, there are people who just read this very surface level for just pure enjoyment.
Just for fun, yeah.
And then there are people who like go just like balls to the wall and really get down and nitty gritty with it. Because this is like, this type of thing is what makes me think of when people still to this day are like theorizing about Harry Potter.
Mm-hmm. There's so many rabbit holes you can go
There's
down.
like so deep, so deep. And it's like all these different things where it's like, is any of this, and I'm not suggesting that any of this is, but it always like, I think this way of like, is any of this coincidental? When someone goes through and they're like, oh, in Harry Potter, she said XYZ, and that's because in whatever like real world thing, that's this, and that means this, and then XY, this, and like goes like all this. And I'm like, oh, how do you people find this? I was like, did they really do all this research? Or did it just like, well, the author, I mean, was like, did J.K. Rowling really do that? Did she really set it up that way? Or is someone like sort of stretching and like making it do this? And like, that's why it's like so wild for some of these theories, especially as a book is coming out and an author is writing these things. And like, obviously in their brain, there's the big major plot points that they already know, and some of the little things get filled in as they're writing, because you hear authors discuss, I think it was a W magazine that has like a new book club, and they met with Rebecca Yarros and they were asking her different questions, and she was saying that as you're writing a character, I think that I maybe want it to go this way, but as I'm writing a character, as a story is developing, like it'll go a different way, or I wasn't originally planning on killing this character, but at the end of it just made sense for this person to die, that like things shift and they evolve like as an author is writing, and it's just God, like some of this stuff like is just so crazy that it could even potentially connect, and even if it's like partially true for some of this stuff is still wild. But again, so many details. Like I didn't even think about Elaine being a seer.
Yeah.
But like because it's such a minute, it's like the same thing as like we were kind of talking about. It's the same thing in Crescent City with Danica's line that there is this other third alpha wolf that is like off to the side here that sort of it's like offhandedly mentioned that it's clearly going to be important, but it's so under the table and sly that it's brought in there that you're not even
you don't even
thinking
register
about
it as
it.
being
And like
important.
it's the same thing with Elaine, that like Elaine is such like a third-rate character at this point in time.
Yeah.
That like you're not even thinking about her seer stuff, especially for the fact that it took them so long to fucking figure out that she was even a seer to begin with.
So she said a lot of weird stuff, and I think one thing that I think still trips up a lot of people, and certainly still trips me up, is when Cassian's like, oh, it'll take a lot more than that to kill me. And Elaine says, no, it won't. Like, Elaine, what? And so maybe she's seeing that they're all gonna fucking die. And she's gonna have to be the one to figure out how to save them. And I think that would be such a cool storyline for Elaine. You know, she'd been sidelined for so long as a boring character. So for Sarah to do something like that for Elaine,
yeah,
I think would make a lot of sense. It would give us something really cool. This is sort of related to my whole theory about Theon also being Thur, and then by extension Hunt. So we kind of get that weird scene between Adis and Jessica where they're talking about Hunt's dad. You knew the male best, whatever. So it's like, okay, well then who is Jessica? How does she know Hunt's dad? Who is Hunt's dad? Well, if he's related to Thur / Theon somehow, I don't know. This just sort of leads me into who is Jessica? I think
I knew we'd get her eventually.
Jessica is High Priestess Oleana. She's the one who dipped the Star Sword in the cauldron. Let me see it. There's a whole theory about this. Okay. Jessica's a witch. Similar to it, and she protects the book, similar to what the priestesses do in ACOTAR. She seems to know Adis very well. Oh, it's just heavily hinted at by her that she knows a lot about Thea, knew Thea pretty well, based on the fact that she's like, oh, you know, her light is the same. Bryce's light is the same, and I thought that light was extinguished.
So, I don't mean to jump ahead, but just like on Jessica, because I had saw a theory floating around on Bookstagram. I don't know who originally had thought of this theory. I'm not even sure which account I had originally saw it from, but talking about Jessica, because she's a witch, that she is a fae and a Volg mix. Like that's how we get a witch.
Witches.
So are we assuming that the Volg are from hell? Because I've also seen a theory that the three kings, or like the princes that they're discussing inside Throne of Glass, are the 7 princes that are discussed inside Crescent City.
I think that could, yeah. I mean, that's like a separate theory.
Oh, okay.
But
that's so that's totally different from this one.
I think that's totally different. In my mind, High Priestess Oleana / Jessica came strictly from Prythian. But I don't hate the theory that the Volg are actually demons and their homeworld is hell. A lot of the stuff kind of on the Twilight of the Gods series, people are thinking that we're going to get a lot of these people coming together. So we're going to get those remaining Volg princes somehow maybe banding against the Asteri. Like, are the Asteri the big bad in the universe? Because we've still got 2 of the... Oh, wait.
It's okay.
Never mind.
It's okay. Say it.
We still got 2.
We still got 2 of the Volg kings running around.
Well, I can assume that they kill one of them.
Yeah. We've got 2 that are running around unaccounted for. Don't know where they are. Don't know what they're doing. Could totally come back in somehow. But yeah, I think
because in Crescent City, are there any like demon kings that are mentioned? Like I only ever remember them talking about the 7 demon princes.
Right, we have the princes, but who's their papa? Who's their king?
Who's their papa?
You know, princes come from kings.
They sure do. No, I think that's, yeah. Okay, so then this is also like, then in my scenario, Hunt's father is not actually like Thur. Hunt was just like bred and they either got like some DNA or some shit. And that's kind of what Jessica is referring to. Yeah. So, I mean, it's not actually like Hunt's dad.
Well, and like another, talking about the Volg, we know Maeve can walk through worlds. Like, we've seen it. So, like, clearly before before we had Bryce, who could open portals because she is the horn.
Mm-hmm.
We had Maeve do it. Then we had Aelin do it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's been these, like, kind of consistencies. And granted, like, Maeve's is a little bit different. Like, or Aelin's a little bit different than how Maeve does it. Like, Maeve literally goes because she's bored. And she's like, let's go see what's going on.
Yeah.
And Aelin,
she wants to be uncontested. She just, like, wants to be queen bitch.
Mm-hmm.
For sure.
Mm-hmm.
Where, like, while you haven't seen Aelin do it yet, hers is done in a very different way than Maeve's is done. Like, where it's clearly, like, a power differential. And we think of Aelin being super powerful. Like, we know her limit is damn near bottomless.
Mm-hmm.
But it almost kills her to do it.
Yeah.
So, like, it's a very different way. Whereas, like, Bryce can open them just because she has this magical artifact that is now a part of her.
But Bryce doesn't have enough power. I think every single time she's needed to be powered up in order to have enough power to open the gate, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And so
because she can't even, because also, this also really tripped me up because I thought it was really great because when they winnow, that's what they're doing inside Crescent City, and it's only some of them can do it because they just don't have enough magic, and that she, like, can't figure out how to winnow, and that the only way that she can actually even do it is if
when she's, like,
charged up.
Well, I wonder too, like, so now Bryce is in Prithian, a way more magical world.
Mm-hmm.
How much will her power grow with more access? Like, would Bryce be able to winnow, like, far more easily? Like, you know, Cormac can do it, but we don't really know his struggle with it.
Could do it. Is he not dead?
Well, I don't know. I question.
Wait, you wouldn't know that. The book's
I know.
out.
I don't know.
The way you looked at me, though, I was like, wait a minute. But
she wrote him, like, yeah. I don't know. I mean, I think that maybe
he comes back.
I don't know. Maybe that's just, like, hope.
Yeah. I did like Cormac. But, like, where he has a way easier time. So, like, how much more powerful is he than Bryce? Or is it experience? Or when Bryce is in Prithian, is she just going to have, like, a whole bunch more magic to access? Or, like, is her power going to grow exponentially in this magical, like, this far more magical world? And we won't really know.
Well, we will soon.
But speaking of winnowing, have you listened to Akatar and the noise in the graphic audios for when they winnow?
I have not listened to any graphic audios.
Oh my god. It is like...
I thought that was the one that was, like, kind of a fart sound.
I thought it was... hold on.
While she's looking that up. I got another one. Oh, there's, like, lots of theories that Nesta will be the one to charge Bryce up, which I think is pretty good.
Nesta?
Yeah, Nesta's got that 8-pointed star tattoo on her back. So I definitely think that there's something there with the 8-pointed star.
Also, I saw something, I don't remember exactly what it is, but how do we think the bone carver and...
Oh, hold on.
Okay, hold on.
Then we stand vanished. Then we stand vanished. What's your choice?
Oh, God. Like, I feel like it could have not had a sound because I feel like
it could have been leaves rustling or
yeah,
a wind
like
sound.
To me, it's silent.
Exactly.
They are stepping through time and space.
Yeah. There's no reason for that, like, stupid sound.
What's the cottage crazy?
The Weaver?
Oh, the Weaver.
Oh, the Weaver, yes, because there was the bone carver, there's the Weaver, and then the third one, which was the guy that was down at the very bottom of the library.
But their actual other sibling is Koschei.
Dead.
No,
Oh.
it's Koschei, girl.
Who did you say?
I said, is dead?
No, the Weaver, the Bone Carver, and Koschei are siblings. Abraxas is just kind of there.
Who is Koschei?
From Silver Flames.
From Silver
we don't
Flames.
really. He hasn't really been the villain yet.
What is happening?
He
traps Vasa.
Guy on the other side.
Yeah.
Yes, he's on the other continent.
We just hear about him.
He's like
yes.
a boring villain at the moment.
Yes. Okay. I see, again, some of these names, I'm like, what are you talking about? There's so many names in all these books. Dear God.
Abraxas, I was thinking like Manon's.
No, I know. His I can't think of, I'm pretty sure the name is like very similar because Abraxos is the name of Manon's.
Abraxas is a wyvern.
It's Briaxis.
Braxis.
Oh, yeah.
Shit, we got that really wrong.
Well, because I'm going to be honest with you. The first time I heard it, because I haven't read Akatar in quite some time, I thought they were the same.
That'd be crazy.
Because some of these names
are very similar.
Be the same.
Have you ever looked at a map of Aurelia?
I have tried, and I get confused every time.
Have you seen the Rune Mountains?
No.
It's spelled like Rune, but with a second M. No clue if she did that on purpose.
Maybe she just liked the name.
I think she just liked the name. I don't really think that she like did that on purpose because the Rune Mountains like don't have a ton of significance. No, they don't really have any significance in Throne of Glass. It's just a weird coincidence.
Oh my god. Things just.
Yeah.
Anyways, continue.
I want to talk about. We can be done with that theory for now. Those various theories. I mean, there are all several. This is my favorite one. And I think it's the one Brie doesn't agree with. Maggie maybe agrees that Lauren Donnell, Rune's mother, is Reese's sister.
We have discussed this. We have talked about this. And I think this is a very popular one, that there are many things that are out there. So how do you think this comes to be, Lauren?
Okay. So it doesn't really...
There's a lot of loose ends with this theory, for sure.
Essentially, Tamlin... Right, so we know that it was like Tamlin and his family that killed Reese's sister and mom. So this one, I believe this is also an Emiego one. So 2 things that we know about Tamlin. He hated his entire family because they were assholes. He was really good friends with Reese. So why would he kill Reese's mom and sister? And maybe it was just that he couldn't stop them in time. But I think that maybe what happened is Tamlin knew what his dad and brothers were about to do. And he did something to stop it. Tamlin has the shape-shifting abilities. Tamlin can transform other people to look like other things and can transform people to look like other people, and that shape-shifting survives their death. So I think it's entirely possible that Tamlin either saved both Reese's mom and his sister, or maybe just the sister. Maybe he didn't have time for both. He saved at least the sister, transformed another body or another person to look like her. That's the severed head Reese saw floating down the river. Those are the wings that were in Tamlin's dad's study. And what Tamlin did was he tried to save Reese's sister, and he somehow got her to a portal. Could have been Ramiel. Could have also been those starlight pools in the Spring Court just like don't really make any sense.
But they swim in them. Like, they don't make sense, but like they're...
Farrah goes in it?
Yeah.
You know?
No, I know.
Well, and like the only...
Ramiel, they touch stuff all the time, but like that is a type of a portal.
No, right.
Because Ramiel, as soon as they touch it, it transports them somewhere else. It is a type of portal.
But also, like, it's hard because it's like a sacred mountain. Like, would Tamlin have even known that that's a portal up there?
I don't know.
Because he's not Illyrian. He wouldn't have come to
I think that it may have happened by complete accident. I don't think he meant to push her through a portal. But I think it's possible that somehow she was pushed through a portal into the Crescent City world.
And see, I agree with everything up until that point.
Oh, they were also... Sorry, this theory also talks about how they were headed to the Illyrian war camps, which, if you look at the map, is really close to the prison island. So it's possible there's a gate in the prison island, which makes a lot of sense.
That one makes more sense.
That one makes more sense. Sorry about that. That one makes
okay.
a lot more sense. So he maybe took her over there. Again, maybe didn't intentionally do anything.
The only hiccup, like major hiccup I have with that theory is, yes, in Prithian, in that world, it's been a couple hundred years since that's happened. So you can maybe assume that it's been a couple hundred years on
Crescent City, yeah.
Yeah, on Lunathian. But why would she not remember?
It's not that she doesn't remember.
But maybe
she was
just
young.
so traumatized.
She was young when this happened. Like, we don't know exactly how old Reese's sister was, but we know she was young when this happened. She gets pushed into this other world. Absolutely no way to get back home to her family.
Doesn't know where she is.
Potentially just watched her mom get fucking murdered. She winds up, I think, in Avalon. I think that if she went through the Dusk... I think that there is going to be some sort of a gate that connects Dusk Court to Avalon specifically, and there's like more theories on that. She winds up in Avalon. She's young. She's traumatized. She can't get back. It's not that she doesn't remember. It's that she was brainwashed... A little bit. Brainwashed is a strong word. She assimilated to Avalon culture when she realized there's no way to go back home. Also, Avalon
is very dated. Like, compared
is super dated, is very misogynistic. Women don't really have a lot of rights.
And that's what she grew up around. She was from Illyria, like she was an Illyrian girl.
Yeah.
So like,
but I think, what is she supposed to do?
No, I don't know. I just like...
Make a huge stink, make a huge fuss of like,
Take
I'm
me
from
back.
another world, take me back. It's like, nobody knows where you're from.
No. I don't even think that. I don't know. Like, I I don't know. I just have like a hard time wrapping my head around that even if they can't get back, that like it would never have been discussed. There would have never been anything like.
It was discussed, I think.
Okay.
What does the Autumn King have in his office?
I don't know.
The Ori.
The map? Like
The
Reese
map,
has
like
of the
Reese
world.
has of the world.
So he obviously
Why-
knows a little something.
He knows something. Why does he know that?
Because
he
his
fucking
wife or
wasn't
his
married.
baby mama.
He was connected to her. She maybe let something slip and he goes, oh, what? What?
Or maybe when they first got together.
Yeah.
She was like, yo, I'm really not from here. And he's like, where you
talked
from,
about
girl?
her homeworld. Yeah. And she was like, oh, I'm from here. And he's maybe you got to admit, she's weird. Also, the fact that there was a huge bonus chapter sort of dedicated to her. She's important.
Sarah does those bonus chapter little Easter eggs.
She does those bonus chapter Easter eggs. Those bonus chapters are meant to kind of give you a taste of what's coming next. So I definitely think that she is sketchy. She's weird. And why is she so weird in Averse to Technology? Oh, because she's from Prithian, where they don't have technology. And why she's so weird? She's from Prithian, an entirely different world that she's now had to just grow up in this culture. As for why she and the Autumn King were like selected for breeding, because she was selected to breed with him.
Mm-hmm.
And so
but she probably has like, if they're looking for like high magic, who's going to have like a high magic reading? Someone who just came from the world.
That's what I was about to say. That's why she was mated to the Autumn King. He was like, okay, well, I need, to.
But then like Rune doesn't have that much.
Well, but that's
right.
He was also
he doesn't have that much, right?
He has a decent amount.
He has a decent amount, more than a lot of other people, but yeah, it's not like a ton. I think that could change if he does go to Prithian. I think that when they all kind of get to Prithian, I do think that some of their magic will kind of amplify just because they're surrounded by magic. I don't know. I really like that one. I think that Sarah would love to have that moment of Reese reconnecting with his sister.
Or even Cassian. Other people who grew up with her. Like,
yeah.
I think that would be so...
I think that homecoming moment. Also, I just think it's so crazy that Reese and Rune would look
that similar.
The exact same, to where Bryce, Rune's sister, would not be able to tell the difference immediately. She mistakenly is like, Rune? I think that if they were that distantly related, because there's a whole theory, obviously, that they're kind of all descended from Thea. So there's obviously the two daughters, there's Helena, and then there's the unnamed daughter. Theory is that Helena went to Lenathion, unnamed daughter came back. She went to and then came back through, and she sealed the portals behind her. And that's why the harp and some of the other trove items are in Prithian and not over in Lenathion. And so then the theory goes, the unnamed daughter is kind of the start of Reese's line, and Helena is the start of Rune's line. I think if they were that distantly related, though, how would they look the exact same?
That's almost like if you look at like the family tree for Throne of Glass, if you like, where technically Rowan and Aelin are like distant cousins.
Yeah, they're distant cousins.
To where it's like, how they don't look alike. There's no similarities.
I just think it's so crazy to think that these two people would look the exact same if they're that distantly related, that they both just come from Thea, and that's why they look similar.
But I feel like they look similar because they have the dark hair and the same eyes, which I feel like is something that can be...
But they don't look similar. Like, they look the same.
But I don't look at her saying where she thinks that they look the same because they look the same. I think she looks up and she sees him, where Rune's features in the sense of his hair and his eye color are so distinct that she sees his purple eyes and goes, Rune? Because nobody else in Lunathian has purple eyes.
Besides Lauren Donald.
Well, yes, but I'm saying, like, besides, like, them. And, like, you can say that within, like, a certain family line that they have very distinct features, because in the Ash River line they have the eyes. That's how you know that they have those eyes, and is very distinct turquoise with the gold rim. So I feel like maybe, but also maybe not, that somewhere along the line, like, their blood is maybe connected, and it may not necessarily be, or like, the sister lineage. That it's just they are, like, that's just another factor of, like, showing that they came from Prithian, and they would, like, he's from the Night Court maybe, and, like, obviously Bryce is more like Autumn Court-esque because she's got the red hair and like I'm assuming she has the same red colored hair that
Lucian.
there you go, Lucian has.
Probably.
Which Lucian is
50-50.
yeah, he ain't fool.
Yeah.
But
Oops.
I don't know. I am like not like fully convinced on that one. Like I can definitely see
The
how
merits.
like I could see how it could be there, but
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I just because and off the top of my head, where do we learn that Tamlin can shapeshift other things?
That's from Akatar, like the first book.
I just don't remember that.
He shapeshifts his guards into these beasts and sends them into the world, hoping that a fucking human's gonna kill him.
And then also
Oh.
Farrah
the-
kills
all
one,
of them
skins him, and that
Yeah,
dude stays as a beast.
Oh, that's true. I forgot he stays. Yeah.
Yeah. After she skins him
Mm.
and like takes his pellet, yuck.
Okay. Yeah.
He doesn't ever revert back to
Yeah.
Fae. He just dies like that.
Huh. Didn't make that connection.
Well, and we do know, or we can, I don't even know what the right, like, hope or like see
Surmise,
Tamlin
yeah.
having a redemption
Oh,
arc.
yeah.
What better way than to find out that the thing that Rhys hated him for didn't
Mhm.
fucking happen?
Didn't happen. And obviously, Tamlin didn't tell Rhys, because what's he supposed to say? Yes, I did save your sister. I don't know where she went. I can't get her back.
Like, how is that any better?
That's not better.
But do we also think, or do we maybe think that Rhys, because doesn't Rhys also have the map thing?
Mm-hmm.
So do we think that Rhys knows of other things of like the world? So like,
He sees Aelin.
He saw Aelin.
oh yes, so like in like
Yeah.
he knows of Bryce, or like he says he can speak her language because they speak a
It's the
different language.
older- like
They
the
both
old
speak
language.
old Fae. Yeah, the old
Mhm.
language.
So like I don't know, like I just feel like
There's a lot to
there's
be asked.
so much.
Mm-hmm.
No, we could honestly talk about Crescent City. Like, now we're at an hour and a half. We could
Mhm.
probably talk about it for another hour. and
Oh, I've
still
got
have-
for sure.
I've got even more, but we can just skip.
I mean,
through
do
some
you
of
have
those.
like what are like some other like really big ones? Maybe
Yeah.
you've got we got a couple more.
the
Oh,
reason-
here, let's talk about Rhys's last name.
Okay, good. That was like the one I was hoping.
Let's
you
talk
were
about
gonna-
Rhys's last name. That's a fun one.
Rhys's last name.
It's a silly one.
Is it ever discussed in Akatar that Rhys has a last name?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
And it's a silly one, as mentioned by Farah. It's in the bonus chapter. Again, these bonus chapters.
They have
What
content.
are
bonus
important.
chapters?
Bree?
Brianna, have you not read any of the Silver Flames bonus chapters?
Have you not read any of the bonus chapters?
No.
Brianna. Oh my god.
No wonder she wasn't understanding the importance of these things. All of her bonus chapters are like clues to the next books.
No.
There's a bonus chapter.
Am I even a fan?
There's a
Have
Rhys-
I ever read these books? Do I even know what's going on?
There's a
what is
Rhys
going
and Farah
on?
bonus chapter.
Which is when you hear
Did I? Explain it to me, because maybe I did.
Okay,
I'm
so
so confused.
there's
I need to get that.
the
book
Rhys
off.
and Farah bonus chapter.
Do you want it?
It's from Rhys's point of view.
I don't think you have.
It's not in that one, is it?
Probably not.
Probably not.
Then if it's not in there, then I didn't read it.
Okay.
In my Barnes & Noble special edition, I have. Is it the Rhys and Farah bonus chapter?
I don't know, but that's the one I was going to talk about first.
Sorry, go ahead.
Okay.
So in this one, it's Rhys's point of view. So he talks, this is like where the clue into the Aelin thing is like dead set, which is like he literally sees something that is red falling through the sky, and he puts out a blast of his magic to slow its descent. And Aelin talks about that when she falls through worlds and how she wouldn't have been able to get back to Rowan if she hadn't been slowed down. She was going too fast. So Rhys knows that there's like interdimensional travel because of that. And
He
so
helped Aelin, yeah.
he like helps Aelin return back to Rowan.
But there's this Rhys and Farah bonus chapter where they're talking about baby names.
Mm-hmm.
And she's like,
I don't think that's the Silver Flames one. I think that is from a different book.
the Rhys and Farah baby.
Yeah,
Baby
because
names
why
bonus
would they be
chapter?
talking about baby names after they have their kid?
It's a flashback bonus chapter.
Oh.
It's a flashback bonus chapter when Farah's still
Anyways.
pregnant. Farah's talking to Rhys like, hey, any ideas on baby names? Don't do something ridiculous. And he's like, no, I'm not going to do something ridiculous. Something like that. And she goes, but your last name? And he goes, we're not going to talk about my last name. And then that's sort of like the end of it. I don't know, Maggie, pull it up. But basically the content of the bonus chapter implies that it's something silly and it's something dumb because Farah's like laughing at it.
Okay, so
And making fun of Rhys for his last name. And he's like, we're not going to talk about my last name.
there's a Nessian chapter from A Court of Mist and Fury where so if you had read that one before, like if
before
you read
Silver Flames,
you would see their interaction. So you know that they're like the two of them having a relationship or a dynamic, at least between the two.
Nesta and Cassian.
Yeah.
Oh, I feel like I knew that anyways. Because
right,
yes.
but in
in
this
the book,
chapter, it's like them interacting as she's still a human. He goes to their dad's house and she hears his like wings and she's like super annoyed about it. And so like, it's like whatever, I don't remember everything that happened between them.
I don't remember the whole interaction, but essentially they have an interaction in a bonus chapter to Wings and Ruin. And that clues you in that, oh, they might be mates and there might be a book about them.
And then there's an Asriel bonus chapter where
Asriel, Gwen, and Elaine bonus chapter, which is where everybody's getting the whole Asriel and Elaine theories from. AKA me, I am people. I'm a Gwen real girl.
I'm going to find
where
I'll send them
have
to you.
I been?
And then
I feel duped. Why is no one talking about this? I feel like I have legitimately, I've seen these things. Like, I've seen, obviously, fan art, all these discussions of, like, Asriel and Elaine together. And I just thought it was purely from their dynamic in the book itself. I did not know that there was, like, exclusive content with, like, all these other things in bonus chapters. I did not know this. Why is this not talked about more? Is this talked about more? I truly had no idea.
I don't know, girl, because there's also Throne of Glass bonus chapters.
No. Never in my life. No, because it's the audiobooks. And like the only one that's ever done anything extra in the audiobook was Queen of Shadow did a bonus chapter of Empire of Storms. So I've got a bone to pick with somebody.
Yeah.
I'm upset.
okay, so this one is the baby name chapter.
Right, okay. So maybe read that interaction.
I'm looking for it. This one is Farah and Reese. He says, I brushed my hand through Reese's silken hair. Do you have any names in mind? Reese grinned. Oh yes. I don't trust that grin for one moment. Why? He pulled out of me with a wave of his magic as we both cleaned. I stifled the rising hunger in me at the sight of him tucking himself back into his pants. I'd never name him anything ridiculous. I don't believe you. I tapped his nose. Your family name. Let's not talk about my family name, he said, nipping my fingertips. I laughed. Fine, but his eyes dimmed. What about naming him for your father? My heart strained. You'd be all right with that. Of course I would.
And so that's sort of the thing, right? So Farah implies that Reese's last name is Silly.
So then they like come up with the name Nyx. Like, what about Nyx? I blinked Nyx. Reeks pointed to one of the walls in the books of the study. A leather-bound tome floated towards his open fingers. He wordlessly flipped to a page and passed it to me. I scanned the text inside. An ancient night goddess. So that's, if you had read that one, you would have their name before.
So I think that there's certainly going to be, it's got to be something stupid and silly. And it's also, Sarah's been hiding it for so long that it's also going to be something important. So I think it's Starborn. I think that Reese is probably the descendant of Thea's unnamed daughter, who had the Starborn powers. And I think that Starborn is both a description of the powers, but also acts as a title that is used, which became
Their last
a surname or a last name. Yeah. So I think it's Starborn. A lot of people think that it's going to be Donnell, Cormac Donnell, Lauren Donnell, that sort of thing. I disagree. I think that it's Starborn. I think that he's Rhysand Starborn, which would be super silly for the High Lord of the Night Court to have as a name.
The most powerful.
The most powerful High Lord in history, Rhysand Starborn. And I think that's going to become, I think that obviously that would come into play when Bryce is like, oh, I have the Starborn gifts. And Bryce is like, the what gifts? And she goes, the Starborn? And he's like, but I am Starborn. And she's like, well, I am
also Starborn.
I'm Starborn. I think it could be a really good moment.
I also actually have a question really quick. At the end of Crescent City, who is the person who is speaking to Bryce from Prithian? Is it Elaine?
I thought it, so Reese can speak the old language.
And so can
Amryn.
Oh, it's Amryn.
It's Amryn.
Okay. I
couldn't figure it out.
I just because they're having like these kind of like weird descriptions of these people.
Oh yeah,
I just couldn't remember.
Seen them for the first time.
Yeah. Because it's the girl with the tattoos all around, and I was like, well, obviously that's Feyre. And, I just could not.
Yeah, it's
discern who
Amryn can also speak the language. It's recent Amryn.
And then I saw a theory that said that Amryn is an angel.
So Sarah has said that Amryn's description or Amryn was based on Old Testament angels. That's where people are getting that from. I don't think that she's an angel in the sense of like she's Malachim, like the archangels and whatever. I think that she maybe is an angel in the sense that she was like based off of Old Testament angels. There's lots of theories about Amryn being a seventh Asteri.
Oh, maybe that's what it was.
I don't really know because we don't really see her feeding off the magic in the land. Like she drinks blood, but she doesn't like feed off the magic. So I don't really know. But the Asteri do have to be bound in like a somewhat human form. That's not how they're like born. They bind themselves in those forms or make themselves look that way. But I don't think. I don't know. I don't really think that Amryn's like an Asteri, but maybe she is. Could be.
So to wrap this up, book 3 is the end of Bryce and Hunt.
Yeah. Well, the end of their story.
Yes.
Whether or not that's because they somehow live happily ever after, or they die, or they become someone else.
Sarah said she doesn't she likes a happy ending. I feel like it's gonna be a happy ending.
I mean, yeah, but Twilight of the Gods.
That doesn't mean
if it morphs into Twilight of the Gods. No, but I mean, if the whole they die and then Elaine pulls a Avengers Endgame.
Oh yeah.
Does that whole shit? That would be the coolest thing. That would be the coolest thing to happen in a book.
I know that would be it. If she could pull it off in 800 pages. Well, I guess it's over 2 books then, because it would be
over 2 books.
Yeah, but can you imagine the true gut-wrenching horror you will feel from January 30th until ACOTAR 6 comes out?
Yeah.
Which there's no
dates.
Date, there's no nothing. There's not even a title or anything released for that, right?
Mm-hmm.
But and I'm not going to get into the spoiler, but think about the timing between the end of Empire of Storms and Kingdom of Ash. If you had to read those and wait for that.
I know.
Yeah.
Huh?
The cliffhanger. There's a cliffhanger at the end of Empire of Storms.
And you have to go through all of Tower of
and
Dawn
you have to go through all
then
Tower
Kingdom
Dawn
of Ash?
And then figure out, yes. So it's a huge,
if you were waiting.
So Sarah is no stranger to doing something like that.
Yeah.
Doing something crazy at the end of a book and then making her audience wait for 3 years. She's not afraid to do it. She's done it before.
Oh my God.
I know. This is the worst part about reading books as they come out.
I know. I hate it.
Yeah. I remember I had a family friend who was reading the Harry Potter books as they were coming out. And I remember we were on a family trip.
Mm-hmm.
And we had to stop at a Walmart the day that number 7 came out.
Yes, I would have also made stop at Walmart.
Mm-hmm.
I'm taking off work on the day Crescent City 3 comes out.
On January 30th?
Yep, I'm
Perfect.
taking the day off of work. I don't know if I'm going to read it at midnight when I get the book on my Kindle.
10 p.m.
At 10 p.m.
I was literally going to say, I said 10 p.m., baby.
I might.
What did I get at 10 p.m.?
Oh,
it was Iron Flame. That I bought it at 10 o'clock that I went on. I was like, oh, huh. It comes out. I wonder, and it came up and it let me get it. And I started reading it. And then I got up the next morning at 9 o'clock and drove to Barnes & Noble and got a copy. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And Justin was like, you're telling me you're getting up to go get the book that you just bought last night that you've started reading? And I said, absolutely I am.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
I need 2 copies.
I have 2
And
copies.
it's sitting over there untouched because why would I touch it when I have the Kindle version?
I have already pre-ordered 2 copies of Crescent City 3. I have the Books A Million exclusive edition with that bonus chapter. Everybody else is supposed to get their bonus chapters. Remember, you're supposed to get Barnes & Noble. It's sold out now, so now you can't.
I'll just go get it.
You'll have to go on release date.
Yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying.
Okay.
I'll just go when the store opens and go get it.
I'm my best.
I know. You're going to go to Target on the day it opens.
Oh, I guess I could do that. Target is closer.
No. You have to get the Barnes & Noble version.
Oh, so we all have different versions?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I tried to order the Target one and it was sold out.
So Maggie has to get Target.
God.
You have to get Barnes & Noble. I have Books A Million. My friend Casey has Walmart. And then my other friend Devin.
They all have different content?
There's 5 bonus chapters. So I've gotten a group of 5 people to all
What
buy.
is happening? Who do these authors think they are? Do they think we're made of money?
I know that. No, this one's really, really bad. Like, I cannot believe that she did 5 separate bonus chapters all hidden behind like a paywall. It's insane.
Her publisher is getting greedy.
No, Bloomsbury got very greedy. You know, and they'll all be posted online eventually. But I've gotten together this group of 5 people, you 2 included. You know what you have to do.
But we messed it up a little bit, apparently.
Yes, you did.
Well, I didn't know I had to do that.
I thought I told you.
No, I was unaware.
Well, she told me, and I was like, man, it won't sell out.
I told
It's a
you.
book.
I told you in March.
Yeah, no. They definitely sell, but I just will go get it. It's okay. Like,
Yeah.
I have every confidence. Because, I mean, they'll have extra copies. They're not going to...
Only have the ones that are
pre-ordered. Yeah,
No,
no.
they'll
That's
have
the
them.
whole
You
point of
just have
pre-order.
to go get them like on release day.
Because that's how I got my first edition of Iron Flame.
Well-
I was the only person in the store. I walked in and I said hi, and it was literally on the table right front, and I just got it and went straight to the line and checked out.
I'll be doing it after work.
Mm-hmm.
I will be the first person at Target because they open at 8.
Ooh.
And then I'm gonna make a group chat. We're all gonna share bonus chapters, scan them, and send them into.
Oh my god.
Then you can have all 5 on release day.
I know, but this is unhinged.
Why is that unhinged?
No, it's just madness that that's the thing that you have to do. Is what I mean.
It's
Like,
mad.
that's
Yes,
so crazy.
I agree. And some countries aren't even getting bonus chapters. The U.S. gets all 5. Some countries don't get. All of them don't get any. Like,
That's
Brazil doesn't
so
get.
mean.
Yeah, I think Brazil doesn't get any, or they only get 2.
I saw something online today in one of those like Sarah J. Maas groups I'm on Facebook that someone lives in Australia and they don't print something. There's like one of the series that is, or maybe it's Iron Flame or something that like it's not printed. It's not released in Australia. And so they have to order it on Amazon.
Yeah.
Like from the US to ship
Yeah.
all the way over there because they just don't print it there.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, that's wild. Never in a million years did I even consider
Not being able to get
that
those.
because they're American authors, so like it's just not crossed my mind of other people, other places.
Well,
Not having
in
a-
Australia, they speak English.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, so that doesn't make sense.
Yeah,
'cause,
but like
I-
it's not
the
printed
reason
there, so they just have to
Brazil-
send it from the United States over there,
Yeah.
which I just think is crazy.
No, that's crazy.
Which also the whole thing of like all the issues that were happening with Iron Flame, that half of the books were printed in Italy.
Maggie and I have 2 different
2 different versions.
2 different versions.
I don't know which one I have. You can look at mine, see where mine's from.
I think it's chapter 17 is missing a dragon.
I never looked at mine. I don't know if
My
mine
pages
is.
are much thinner than Maggie's.
I like this.
Oh yeah, I don't remember what it is now, but oh, it's when he tells her that he loves her.
Oh, nice.
Now that I remember, now that you pointed it, is when Zayden tells Bob that he loves her.
love with you.
Completely off topic and off note, but I will absolutely riot in the streets, burn the place down if
She's got the dragon.
nice. If Zayden dies and him and Violet are not endgame,
They are
They're
No.
in game.
you think they are?
Yeah.
I will absolutely. I have seen theories of people talking about because Zayden says something of like you
will be like the
you're the
death
end of me or something
Yeah.
like that, and like I will absolutely lose my fucking shit if the only way for him to like not be a whatever the fuck anymore
Mhm.
is like Violet has to kill him or something. I will riot. And that the fact that they fall in love and we all loved Tamlin
Mhm.
in book 1, and then come book 2 we're all like
Fuck you, Dan.
whoopsies,
Yeah.
and then book 3 we're
Whoopsie.
like really no.
Yeah.
Like I would actually
I don't think this. Yeah.
no, I would absolutely lose my mind. But anyways, this has been a very wild ride. I think it was all a little too unhinged.
I
and-
apologize.
Oh no, just there's so much to
There's
there's
too
Oh,
much.
I got
too
more.
much.
I've got more.
This is wild. Just give credit where credit is due. Sarah, your mind is absolutely insane. I cannot believe that one person could even dream up or create something like this. I think it's
Mhm.
just absolutely massive to have this much.
Content.
Yeah,
sessions,
and just 3 separate worlds that still all connect and all these different things. Again, like if the Volg are the demons and it, like
Mhm.
they're from hell and they're the princes and it's the same thing as what did you call them from Prithian?
It's a daglum.
Like, if they're all the same thing, like, to keep all that, like, it's just...
straight. Like, can you imagine, like, the concept board she would have had?
Mm-hmm.
So, like, keep all this stuff, like,
I'm sure
logical.
Just an
I think it's
file.
so crazy. But regardless, we are very excited for January 30th to get Crescent City number 3. Just...
It's going to be incredible.
I know. Can't wait.
Can't wait. We're in the home stretch, girls.
Truly.
Time to get on your reread.
Reread both Crescent Cities as well as A Court of Silver Flames. And if you're feeling real spicy, I would also recommend a reread of The Kingdom of Ash.
And I would just recommend that for goods, for funsies.
If you want to hurt, yeah.
Yeah.
For sure. All right. Well, thank you so much for joining us. We'll see you again here soon. Peace out.
Later.